Alright, what's up? It's Vu again, and I'm doing an update video on my Maike KK10s. By popular demand, I know was a lot of comments on that last video, or not the last video, but the video where I posted the title as my scooter first ride, and people were complaining that that wasn't a legit first ride. So I'm doing this to satisfy those those followers, those audience members, those fans. So this is for you. Let me see, it's been what, like 5 or 6 months, I can't recall, but it's been many months since I've had this. So everything is still great on the scooter. The motor is still functioning, it's still strong, it's still powerful. The suspension is still working. I don't know how to say, but let me see, the frame, the chassis, it's still robust, it's still very solid. Really very few complaints. I mean, I am gonna go over, I don't know how I'm gonna organize or format this video, but I'm gonna go over some of the few you know, drawbacks that I didn't like or I don't like about the scooter, and then it's mostly positive though, a lot of the pluses. And so I'm definitely gonna show you and show you what I do like about the scooter as well. So there's a lot of that as well, so just stay tuned. So that is the odometer, 774.6 miles. I'm gonna take that with, or you should take it with a grain of salt, because odometer reading isn't absolutely correct. So it's probably closer to maybe 750 miles. Right, so I consider the weight of the scooter a downside, a drawback, a disadvantage, a con, because it weighs, I'm estimating about a little bit over 100 pounds, but I'm gonna give you the exact number here. And I know in other countries you guys go by the metric system, kilograms, so you're gonna have to do a little bit of converting, because over here we use pounds. So I'm gonna hit on this bathroom scale, and then let me get this on if I can. Shit. All right. Okay, come over here. Shit. Oh. It was 105 pounds, but let me try it again. All right. All right, so you're gonna come over here and see the weight. All right, so you might have to turn that camera. Yeah, there you go. It's 105 pounds. All right, so yeah, so turn the camera up. Alright, so definitely this is not a scooter for somebody who lives or who occupies the second floor of a condo complex or third floor and there's no elevator. You're not going to want to lug this thing up the stairs, but if you live on the bottom floor, or if going upstairs is not a big deal for you, you're Hulk Hogan or you're a very strong guy, then maybe that'll work out for you. But for the average person, you're not going to want to be taking this on a public bus or whatever. So it does weigh 105 pounds. It's heavy. This element of the Maike KK10s is a big plus on it. It's very, very quiet because it utilizes a brushless DC hub motor versus my old scooter, which uses also a brushless motor, but it's chain driven. So I'm gonna give you a comparison of how each one sounds and to show you how quiet this one is versus that one. So this one here, I'm gonna turn it on. So you're gonna listen to how quiet this is. So this is maybe like 30, 35, 40 miles an hour here. You can barely hear just a very, very small hum versus this one over here. I'm gonna let this one slow down and stop spinning. So this is the old scooter. You hear that chain noise? That cacophony. And you go higher. You barely hear the speed, right? Yeah, this thing is very loud. You need to have some kind of ear protection while you're riding with this thing. So this is not such a big deal when you're on the road and you're riding free in the wind, but when you need to reconfigure or reposition the scooter around in a small garage or a small amount of space, the turning radius is one of my biggest complaints. So you come a little closer, see how when I I make a right turn, this vertical bar here hits this component of the scooter, and this is as much as I'm able to turn it. What is it? Maybe like a 45-degree turn. See, if I want to get the scooter out, I gotta go back and forth a few times, because the scooter is kind of bulky and the turning radius sucks. Versus if I can just demonstrate to you on this old scooter, if it has any virtue, it would be the turning radius. As you can see how I can turn this all the way like that? So this is a way bigger turning radius. So okay, so right now I'm gonna quickly show you some of the other attributes of the scooters that I do not like. So one being the splash guard. If you look here, this is the front splash guard. First of all, it looks weird, it looks wimpy. I don't like the appearance. And secondly, the installation process is very difficult. In addition, when the suspension goes up and down, the tire itself actually rubs on the inside of the splash guard. So this is very poorly designed. Another thing I don't like about it is, you see the air canister on this front suspension shock. You can't pump this up, you gotta go around. Okay, you go around. You see, this is the valve of the air shock absorber canister. You cannot insert a hose to fill this in, because it's being blocked by this frame member here. So I think that was just a really bad design. You gotta pretty much remove this whole component if you want to adjust the air pressure in here. Alright, so one of my biggest pet peeves about this particular e-scooter, stand-up scooter, is the regenerative braking. And I believe over in Asia they call it electronic braking, because I contacted the customer service, asked them about adjusting the regenerative brake. They didn't seem to understand what I was saying. So eventually we figured out that electronic braking is the same as regenerative braking. It's one of the hardest words for me to say, but regenerative braking, I just call it regen braking. But on this scooter there is that feature. I'm going to turn this on. I don't know if you can see this, but let me see. Let me turn it around this way. Yeah, okay, this is a lot easier to see. So you're gonna press the mode button and the power button for about 3 seconds, and it's gonna bring up the P's. These are the parameters, and if I'm just gonna toggle through or cycle through this, P9 is the regen braking. Hit mode again. You can change this to number 2, number 1, or number 0. So number 1 barely gives you any regen. You can almost not feel it. It's almost like it's not there. And then let me bring this back to myself here. The problem with the number 2 P9 regen braking setting is that it's too sudden and it's too abrupt and it's too strong. It doesn't give you that gradual motor electronic regen braking. What happens if you're going about 20 miles an hour and you tap on the brake handles, but you don't engage the brake calipers on the brake rotors yet. So what it does is you don't get any kind of stopping power, and then when you go down to about maybe 7 or 6 miles an hour, it just locks up the wheels. So number 2 is just too strong. Number 1, you barely get any effects of the motor resistance, so you're really burning a lot of the brake pads because of that. I know my old scooter, the regen worked beautifully on that and was very fulfilling, very satisfied with it. This one, however, regen sucks. So another frustrating quality about this scooter, and I don't know if this is true with the bigger name brand scooters like Duotron or Zeros, but these Chinese, like, I don't want to say a no-name, it's a Maike scooter, but it's sold under so many brands that I would consider like a no-name scooter. What I don't like about it in terms of a frustrating quality is the speedometer. So it has this display here, this LCD liquid crystal display, and this is supposed to be your speed, but I can never get this speed to match the GPS Garmin Forerunner 201 GPS device speed. So there's 2 parameters. Let me show you. So I'm gonna press these two buttons simultaneously here, the mode and the power button. So P0, actually, yeah, P0 is supposed to be the diameter of the wheel, so they suggested I keep that at number 10, and then you go to P1 is the cutoff voltage. P2, I've been playing around with this setting here, going anywhere from 15 to 18, and so let me get pan back to my beautiful face here. All right, so playing around with the P0 and P2, I was able to get the speed to adjust gradually, or change gradually, but somehow it can never match the GPS 4Runner speed in terms of if I get it to match the low end speeds, like for anywhere from 0 to 20 miles an hour, then when I go up to the higher speeds like 30, 35 miles an hour, it'll be completely off. As far as the negatives of the scooter is concerned, so after riding about 700 miles and owning the scooter for about 5 months, the worst affliction to befall the scooter is this right here, the rear tire. I got two flat tires, which put me out of commission for about 2 weeks. I was trying to figure out or decide whether I should replace the tire altogether or repair it. So that took a little bit of time to figure out. But this is something I'm conflicted about, because there are solid rubber tire options, but then I would sacrifice traction and comfort. So I think overall I would still pick this kind of tire, the air-filled pneumatic tires. But yeah, just two unfortunate flat tires, which sucked. All right, so I have the scooter's lights turned on, and when it comes to the lights, I'm mostly satisfied with it. It's very bright, very visible, and I've had the scooter for about 3 months, so I've gotten to get to know the lights a lot better. So down here they have something called the eagle eyes. So you see down here, you got one eagle eye, two eagle eye, and then you have you have a pair of eagle eyes in the front. So that's very bright. And then you have one headlight right in the middle there, and then you have the RGB sequential lighting on the deck, and then you have these back here, I guess they call it the brake lights. It really pleases me how bright these lights are. What I think could be improved, I mean, I'm a little bit nitpicky here, but you see this button here? When I do this, everything turns off. See? There's no precise control. So let's say if I want just to have the single headlight in the middle in the front turn on, I do not have that capability. I mean, it's either everything on or everything off. I don't have that fine adjustment. For this speed run, I'm giving the scooter every chance to succeed, every chance to maximize performance. I'm not trying to cheat it in any way. So the front and rear tires set at 35 psi as recommended. I made sure the brake pads and the brake calipers are not rubbing against the brake rotors. P8 setting at 100%. Turbo mode, dual motor on. So the way I'm determining maximum speed is I am going eastbound in one direction, and then later on I'm going to go westbound on the same stretch of road, but westbound, and get the top speed for that, and then take the average of the two speeds, and that would be the maximum capability speed of the scooter. And the reason I'm doing this is because there might be an incline or there might be a decline in one direction versus the other. So if I do both directions and take the average, that should be the maximum flat ground pavement performance. Serious message here. The top speed run that you just watched was performed on an isolated road without pedestrians or vehicular traffic around. Don't be reckless, be responsible, be an adult. You're riding these high-powered scooters. Don't maximum speed it in heavily congested areas, populated city centers. What I did was an experiment. It's a one-off. I wanted to show you what its full capability is. All right, something else that most scooter riders will probably find very trivial, but I thought it was a very neat feature, is you can actually set the scooter to beginner training mode so that the maximum speed is no more than 10 miles per hour. So it'll limit the scooter, so no matter how far you pull this trigger, the throttle trigger, it'll go maybe like 8-9 miles per hour. So I thought that was pretty cool. If you have a friend who isn't accustomed to these high-powered scooters, you can have them get on there without too much worry, you know, more peace of mind. So I'm going to show you how to do that. Let me see. If you do two buttons simultaneously here, it gets you in the P parameter. Go to parameter 8, and then you just go down to what, like 50%. This number represents the percentage of power, or max power. So oh wow, you can actually go, I thought 50 was the lowest, but you can actually go lower than 50. Let's see how low it'll let me go. So let's say, oh, 5%. Okay, so that's 5. And then it'll just snap out of it. Okay, now snap out of it. I'm gonna hit eco and single, and then it'll probably, I thought 50% was the lowest, but at 5%, maybe like 6 miles an hour is max. But let me see. Okay. Nothing. Okay, so 5% power is too low. It's not even pushing me anywhere. I'm not even going like 2 miles an hour. So I'm gonna up it to about like 40%, and I think that should keep it keep the speed to about 10 miles an hour. Let me play around with that power percentage. Okay, I don't know if you ever see that. I upped the P8 power percentage to 40%, and in eco mode I was not able to go more than 5 miles per hour. So that's just to show you how much control you have over the power. So you can lower it down to really low, or go up as high as what you saw earlier in the speed run. You are curious about the drone crash early in the video. Well, here is the drone. It's a Parrot, and the damage here, you can see this arm is completely severed off. I don't know if it's repairable, but what happened was there was a signal loss and the drone just crashed into a palm tree. But I just want to convey the message that sometimes it's not easy to get you videos like these. Sometimes there's casualties. It's difficult. I have to jump through hoops sometimes. So just be appreciative. Something else I'm really impressed about is the excellence of the customer support at Maike. Being a first-time Alibaba buyer, I was skeptical going in, but I mean, I am a true believer now for a few reasons. First, I obviously received the scooter because Alibaba has something called trade assurance, so they don't actually release the funds until you hit that button that says product reception verified. And something else, I thought that after I received the product and the funds got released, then there would be no more incentive for them to stand by their 1-year warranty, because what am I going to do? I really have no recourse. There's no Better Business Bureau that I can report them to. They're all the way in China. But true to their word. So for example, I had trouble figuring out the parameter settings on my LCD display. I shot the customer support person a question, and she got back to me within a day. In addition, I submitted a request for a replacement charger because this one was going bad. So all they did was ask me for a little bit of proof, like a little short video on showing that the charger indeed doesn't go all the way to 67 volts, and they processed and shipped a brand new charger to me within a week. So definitely customer support, customer service is one of the big positives about this whole experience with an Alibaba scooter. However, I do want to say a caveat. I would not buy replacement tires or brake pads or accessories for the scooter from the Maike technology company, because they do overcharge and mark up those items like mad. I would go instead to AliExpress and buy those at a way lower price.